Hi everyone, this is my review of Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen McManus. This book is a YA thriller. It came out at the beginning of January and I flew through it. I absolutely loved it. After giving you a quick summary, I will give you my thoughts. This book is set in a small town in the USA, which the main character moves to with her twin brother. They have to go and live with their grandmother because their mother is having issues and there's no one else to look after them. So they move to this small town in which the homecoming queen from a couple of years back went missing and she was later found dead. This town has a history of mysteries and dead teenagers. The twins aren't banished back in the day when she was a teenager, so this kind of hits very close to home for them. So in this book there are 2 disappearances slash murders which are unsolved, and also a killer who starts to threaten the town and says they're coming back. I have to say that this thriller was so meaty. There was so much going on in such a short amount of time. This book is 350 pages, roughly, less than that even, and there was so much going on. The author packed so much into it and introduced so many characters and plot lines and small town drama that you can tell that she has worked incredibly hard on this book. In case you don't know, this author is also the one who wrote One of Us is Lying a couple of years ago, and that's been on the New York Times bestsellers list for 70 odd weeks now and people are loving it, and I did really enjoy it as well. I'm not sure I would enjoy it as much nowadays if I were to read it now, but this book knocks it out of the park. This one is absolutely amazing and she has done a much better job of weaving a mystery and introducing so many different plot elements in such a neat and tidy way. I think the story flows really well and the suspense is real. I had so many theories about who the killer was going to be, and to be honest, so many people could have been an actual legitimate suspect. I was suspecting everyone and I was guessing right up until the very end, and I'm not going to tell you if my theory was correct or not because I feel like that would spoil things if you've seen some of my tweets. But just know I really loved the ending and what the big reveal was. There was just one thing that I wish could have been wrapped up better, and again I can't say anything else about this because of spoilers. Something was hinted at the very end and there was no resolution, which was a bit annoying. I think if this wasn't a thriller I would be expecting a sequel based on a couple of lines that are said at the end, but I don't think there's going to be, and I'm quite glad there's not going to be a sequel because this one wraps up really well. One thing I didn't particularly love about this book was the fact that there were 2 points of view and they weren't from the twins. The female twin, Ellery, gets her own point of view, but her brother doesn't. The second point of view is actually Ellery's love interest, Malcolm. This is where the whole small town thing comes into play. So Malcolm's brother was accused of murdering the previous homecoming queen who was killed 5 years ago. So now Malcolm is dealing with all of the backlash from that, and he's just basically really unpopular. And once the killer starts to threaten the town again, Malcolm gets bullied even more and accused of so many different things. So those are the 2 points of view, and multiple points of view in books are not my favourite thing. I always tend to get attached to one character more than another, and that was true for this book as well. I was much more interested in Ellery and her storyline than I was in Malcolm. I do feel like the author did a good job with both points of view, but because I was more interested in Ellery, I felt like Malcolm's chapters were kind of dull in comparison. I wouldn't say dull, actually, that's a bit harsh. They just weren't as interesting. I think mostly because he wasn't the new guy in this town. Having said that, I do think that having 2 points of view in this book was the correct choice because Malcolm's chapters added a new dynamic and provided more information. I just felt like the switching back and forth took away from the tension a little bit. Another thing I really did like about this book was the fact that Ellery was much more interested in the case and her aunt and her own personal stuff than she was in Malcolm. She and Malcolm do have a budding romance and it's kind of cute. I didn't really care for it, but I never care for romance in books. But Ellery was so much more focused on what was going on in the town, and I thought this was really realistic because I think if teenagers from your school are getting murdered or vanishing, then it makes sense that you're not really looking for love at that point in time. I think in a lot of YA thrillers there is a romance that kind of detracts from the mystery plot, but in this case it was kind of just in the background, and that was really nice to read about. So the romance in this one was very chill and I really appreciated that. And that is pretty much all I have to say about this book. Just know that McManus's writing style has greatly improved since One of Us is Lying, so if you didn't like her first book then I would still recommend giving this one a go. I do feel like she is developing really well as a writer, so I would highly recommend trying this one, and I'm going to give it 4 stars because I thought it was great. Thank you all for watching my review. Let me know if you've read this book or One of Us is Lying in the comments below and we can get a discussion going. If you haven't read either of the author's books then let me know what your favourite YA thrillers are in the comments below, because I am always looking for thriller recommendations. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll speak to you in my next video. Bye!